Thank you all. Thank you very much. Let me get rolling here. I hope you don't mind a rambling sort of dissertation. I have a lot of things on my mind, and hopefully we'll open this up to questions. I first of all want to recognize the people that are outstanding outside the gate who are upset. That's America. God bless them. They're passionate people. You know, I come from McKees Rocks. You want to know what passion is? Drive over there one time, okay? Lock your doors and make sure your windows are up. I mean, I understand passion, and I respect it, and I think they're good people. Give them a round of applause for the fact that they're expressing themselves. It takes a great deal of courage for somebody to step out of the mold or the expectations that are held for him or her. I know that she's as good as anybody. She's gonna, give me a couple good ones to the jaw. I know it. She's probably already done it. But Capri Cafaro has had courage. I respect her. She sent me an email, said, "What are you going to talk about?" I didn't have enough of a space on my email to respond because we've got a lot of things to talk about today. But I tell you, we had our Jobs Ohio program, which hopefully I won't forget to talk about. And the vote in the Senate was 31-2 for a new way of operating to try to create jobs. I'm very proud to work with her. I'm proud to work with Senator Wilson. He's got a lot of plans about how to move up the river, try to revitalize things and bring jobs back. Again, you grow up in McKees Rocks, you know the pain of when the wind blows the wrong way and people find themselves out of work. And this valley and this region has struggled too long. He has a sense of what we need to do to revitalize it. And you gotta love Schiavone. He's just a likable guy, and he's a smart guy, and he shows courage as well. And what I'd say about the three of them is I deeply appreciate the fact that they're gonna fight with me when they don't agree. But they're looking for ways to agree with me for the best interest of the people of this valley and this region. Would you please give them a great round of applause? Well, Letson and O'Brien, I don't know that I can say the same thing about, but no, they're here with us today, and I don't know Letson very well, but I know O'Brien. And first of all, he's cleaned up today. I'm impressed. Mother must have made him wear that nice white shirt. We're going to bring them along as well. We're going to listen to them. They're going to work with us because it's all in the interests of raising the bar for the people that we serve. But I also have to tell you about the mayor of Youngstown. Now, when I came up here for the tragic shooting of a student who was a leader for peace at Youngstown State, we came up with a list of things that we thought we could do to help. And the mayor, on that very somber day, gave me great praise for not just coming here, but having some things we can do. And we're working with the mayor to try to make sure that we can improve the security at our university, improve the life here in the valley and in Youngstown. Cory Booker, I don't know him, but I understand he is a terrific leader in New Jersey, in Newark. I think we have another Cory Booker right here in Ohio. I think Jay Williams is a great mayor, and I think we should honor him for what he's done. Let me get to it here. Since 1950, I've got a couple notes here. Since 1950, Cleveland has lost 40% of its, Cleveland has lost 50% of its population. We've lost 50% of our population in Youngstown. Cincinnati has lost 40% of its population. You know, we've lost 2 congressional seats. We grew, I think, by about 183,000 over the last 10 years. Texas grew that much in 5 months. When you lose congressional seats, you lose influence and you lose power. In the last 10 years, we've lost 600,000 jobs. In the last 4 years, we've lost 400,000 jobs. Only 2 states have performed worse than Ohio. Michigan, which is devastated by the auto business, and California, which seems to be every day engaging in things designed to drive jobs out of that state. With over-regulation and over-taxation, they've got a great plan over in Nevada to just beg people to come to Nevada and open up their businesses there, and guess what? A lot of businesses are listening. Within 3 years of graduation, 1/3 of Ohio's college graduates leave for another place. Our homelessness has risen. Our poverty has risen. Our entrepreneurs, people who have built companies and provided great opportunity to families, when the time goes to cash in their stake for what they built and thinking about maybe the thousands of people that they helped to get jobs and to have a better life, when they go to cash in their stake, they pay capital gains tax at 15% down in Florida, and up here in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio, they pay 23%. Now, what would you rather give the tax man, 15 or 23? I don't think that's a very difficult choice. You know, so the bottom line is we lose our young people. The quickest group of people that are, the single biggest group of people leaving Ohio are Ohio families. So we lose families, we lose young people, we lose entrepreneurs. Our cities are being ravaged, and Ohio is under siege with not India, but Indiana and Kentucky and Florida and North Carolina, Illinois, every day. They come into our state and they talk to our employers and they try to get them to move to their state. And I've been in office now, what, it's been a couple years? No, I guess it's only been about 30 days. Every day it's a new challenge. We start on the 5-yard line and they start on our 20. We got to go 90 yards to score a touchdown and they go 20 yards to score a touchdown. You know, it's a difficult situation. I have to tell you the situation is stabilizing. And we will have an announcement within 30 days of 2 major companies that we are retaining in Ohio who were under attack by states from North Carolina and Illinois. We're going to win. One of them in excess of $150 million in payroll. Fantastic to be able to start to stem the loss of jobs. So our problem is, and why is this happening? Well, because we're not competitive. Our taxes are too high. Our regulations are too onerous. Our legal system is not perfect. And in some regards, we have a labor overhang where a lot of people say, if I'm going to open a plant, I don't want to go somewhere where I can get hassled. Well, we can fix that. We demonstrated it at Lordstown. But the fact of the matter is, we are under siege, and doing what we have been doing will only take us down. And the entire Midwest is in trouble. Think about the South and think about the Southwest. You ever go to those places? I mean, things are hopping, they're happening, or young people are there. Go to Austin, Texas. Go to the Triangle in North Carolina. You know what's happening in those places? You go down there on a plane to meet our kids who graduate from Case, or graduate from Ohio State, or graduate from Youngstown State, because that's where the opportunity is, and kids go to where they can realize their dreams. Now, some people say raise taxes. Not on my watch. I am not going to make, and I'll tell you why. This has nothing to do with politics. This has nothing to do with ideology. It has to do with dollars and cents. I am competing with my team at development to keep people in this state because other people have lower costs. When we drive up our costs through taxes, which frankly is the easy way out. I've been in politics, it's too long. The easiest thing is to raise your taxes. The hardest thing is to control your costs. And we raised taxes in the last session of the legislature. We're now $8 billion in the hole. Unprecedented. I can't raise taxes. And I am troubled about the fact that we don't have a capital gains differential. In other words, when a person that creates a company decides to cash in their stake, instead of paying their capital gains taxes at regular income, wouldn't it be great if we reduced it so they don't leave? Because the investment, think about this, the capital gains revenues in this state in the last 10 years has gone from $12 billion to $3 billion. You know what that means? It means people are not investing here, and it also means when it comes time for them to sell, they're not selling here. We must have people invest in Ohio. We can't have them investing in Florida or in Texas or in North Carolina or the new rising state, Tennessee. So we can't raise taxes. We can't get the prosperity with raising taxes. But I have to also tell you, we can't get the prosperity by just cutting. Can't do it. I've been there. You cannot get there by just chopping. No business can do great by just reducing costs. Oh, through the tough times, that's how you survive. And you talk to the companies that have been successful here who have controlled their costs, and now they are really starting to get the great gains in net income. Just talk to your Parker-Hannifin people who are located in this valley. And Parker-Hannifin's ability to generate net revenue is, I was just there the other day, mind-boggling. What a great company. What a fantastic operation. So, but we know we can't cut our way there because you have to innovate. So what are we doing? We are restructuring the state of Ohio. Now, all the focus has been on Senate Bill 5. Let me tell you a little bit about this. You know, at the current time, if you're police and fire and you run a town, do you know that somebody can fly into your town and impose a settlement on you that you might not be able to afford, and then they get back on a plane and they leave? What happens to your town? Well, if they impose a settlement you can't afford, you either have to raise taxes or maybe, as some towns, teeter on the edge of bankruptcy. And by the way, when they go bankrupt, what do you think happens to the pensions? What do you think happens to the health care? Huh? Why do you think this whole discussion is going on in Washington about whether states ought to be able to declare bankruptcy? You know why they're doing that? Because they want to wipe all those the entitlements that they're stuck with off their books. I don't want to do that. So what about this idea? Instead of having somebody come in and impose a settlement, or the threat of an imposition of a settlement leads to a bad deal right off the bat, how about if we get a fact finder? Jay, how about if we have somebody comes in and takes a look at the needs of labor, takes a look at the needs of the taxpayers in the city of Youngstown, and publishes a fact-finding report? The city council would then vote on it. They can accept it or they can reject it. If they reject it, it's probably because the city can't afford it. And there can be more negotiations. But at the end of the day, that's fair. They tell me that's what they do in New York. You know, what we are trying to do is with Senate Bill 5, that's one of a whole series of reform initiatives designed to allow us to save money in an $8 billion environment and to restore a sense of balance between labor and taxpayers. You know, let me just suggest to you that your average private worker is paying 23% of their health care costs. Your average city worker is paying 9%. People say, well, we are the only ones sacrificing. Think about what private sector workers had to do over the last 10 years. Their 401k has been obliterated. The companies, in many cases, have reduced the match on their 401k. People have lost their jobs, over 9% unemployed. And their health care in the private sector? Really great, isn't it? It isn't great. They've already made a big sacrifice, and they're asking for balance. And I think it's entirely appropriate. But it also gives the mayors and the school boards an ability to have the tools to control their costs. And if a mayor or a school board wants to give a big raise to labor, I'm fine with that. But do not deny those who want the tools to manage their costs to be denied those tools. But this Senate Bill 5 is one piece of an overall reform agenda, because the single best way to get us balanced is restructuring. It's looking at the state of Ohio and producing a better product at a lower cost. Let me give you a couple examples. I think you all know that the nursing home industry has had really a very profound impact on the ability of the legislature to pass legislation that does this. Mama needs help. Mama goes to a nursing home. You know what it costs? Mama would rather stay at home. Mama would rather be more comfortable at home with some help. And if she qualifies for a nursing home, she ought to qualify to stay in her home with some help at a fraction of the cost. You like that? I don't know whether you do, but I know Mama does. Let me give you another one. Almost 50% of the people who are in our state prisons today are in prison for less than a year. Do you hear what I said? And this 50% who's in prison less than a year oftentimes gets to be celled right next to somebody who is a hardened criminal. You know what happens to the recidivism rate? It goes up. It doesn't come down, it goes up. Now, what if we were to put those people in a setting where we were safe, but yet it cost us a fraction of the money that it cost to put them in the state prison? Why haven't we done that? Politics. Why did we not reform Medicaid? Politics. Let me give you another one. You know, something I just worked on. The head of my Department of Mental Health came to see me. She said, we have an old facility in Cleveland and it's just in bad shape. We are always getting ready for emergency repairs. I want to shut the facility down, and I do not want to build a new hospital in Cleveland, which Cleveland had been expecting to get. Instead, she said to me, I would like to improve the Northfield site, which is in Summit County, right on just adjacent to Cuyahoga County. I'd like to transfer the clients to that facility, and I'd like to improve that facility. And John, as a result of doing that, I will have no capital needs for 4 years, and I can reduce my operating costs by $4 million a year, and the clients will be better treated, and the State Mental Health Association has endorsed this. So what do we get? I got to call the mayor, terrific guy. He wants the hospital. I got to make a choice. If I can serve the mentally ill in a better way, save operating costs, and reduce the need for capital investment for 4 years. Now, why hasn't this kind of thinking happened before? It's too hard to make that call. Too hard. But you know, I'm working with the mayor now in the city of Cleveland to see if we can have some tax credits for the making of this great movie. I guess Marvel comic books. I'm trying to, I'm doing it because I'm trying to get a part. We all have to pull together and work together, because if in fact we can lower the cost of doing business and balance our budget and preserve our tax cut, we create the platform for economic growth and entrepreneurship. There will be cuts. We unfortunately cannot restructure our way all the way there. Who gets hit the hardest? The people who relied on stimulus money to operate their budgets. Now, who the heck uses a one-time money to run their operating budget without anticipating how they're going to run their operation when the money goes away? I can't fix that, and it's tragic, but I can't manage everything. And I warn people during the campaign, do not use stimulus money to run your operation. Use it for one-time fixes or reform as a transition to reform. But no politics involved in the decision-making we're doing. And look, I did this in 1997. I fought 10 years to get to a balanced budget. I fought George Bush, the president. I fought the Secretary of Defense, Dick Cheney. I fought my own party. I fought the Appropriations Committee. I fought a lot of Democrats, and in 1997, I was the chief architect of a plan that for the first time since we walked on the moon balanced the budget, paid down debt, cut risk-taking and investment taxes, and creating prosperity for America. I want to do that right here in Ohio. Now, we created an organization called Jobs Ohio. Who's going on the board? Well, I'm going to go on the board. There'll be 2 out-of-staters on the board. And by the way, some people don't like the fact that we're bringing great talent into Ohio from out of state. I guess Youngstown State became a great football power because they never recruited anybody outside of Ohio. I mean, come on, folks. When people are willing to come in here and help us, let's thank them. Let's not kick them in the backside and try to throw them out of the state. Let me tell you what Jobs Ohio is designed to do. It's designed to get people to answer phone calls, to put deals on the table in 72 hours, to come up with the metrics to decide who we can help and how we can help them and what we can afford. And let me tell you, privatization is all part of that as well. Because if I can privatize some of the assets that are not being used in this state and put them in Jobs Ohio to compete in an effective way against other states, instead of my starting on the 5-yard line, I'm going to be starting on their 40-yard line, and we can go on the offense in terms of keeping jobs and bringing jobs into this state. And the people on that board are going to be the people that know how to create jobs. And it'll be subject to the same ethics rules as we have at our universities. It will not be civil service dominated. You will be paid on the basis of how you perform, not on the basis of theory, of what you produced. And it'll all be open to the public. We'll be audited. We'll have an annual report. And I appreciate the fact that the senators who are here today gave me a chance to do this, because business moves at the speed of light. We're moving quickly, folks, to stabilize the patient in this state. But we didn't get here in a day, and we won't get out in a day. But Jobs Ohio will also allow me to hire the best and brightest who can focus on energy and healthcare and manufacturing. And so yesterday, the Senate passed almost unanimously a proposal to begin to get rid of the rules and the regulations that drive you crazy when you are trying to be an entrepreneur, okay? We need a lot of that. We need to reduce the friction for business. So you know when you get up in the morning and they say, I'd like to open something here. I'm thinking about microloans. I'd like to give out microloans to people, particularly in our inner city. We give microloans. I was involved in microloan projects in Africa. Give them a microloan. Give them a little bit of money to get started. That's what that incubator, by the way, is all about down there. Give them a chance. But you know what? Open the business and we'll fill out the paperwork later. And we're going to create a business gateway. You know, you want to start a business now, you get like 4 buildings. Okay, go to this department, go to that department. It's like Willy Wonka. Did you go over here, then you go over here. Nonsense. Give them a medal when they want to create a job. Kid gets shot here. I'm in the car with his buddy. Watch 5 of his friends die. Hopelessness, joblessness. What are we kidding? Got to make the economics work. Down in Portsmouth the other day, I got a woman who stands up and says, my 18-year-old son died from prescription drug overdose. Portsmouth, you been there? Scioto County, you been there? 9.8 million prescriptions that were written to service 78,000 people. And people are dying down there. Part of it is joblessness, hopelessness. Can't put up with that. And I appreciate the fact that we had bipartisan support, try to rationalize those rules and their regulations. So how are we proceeding? We look at things regionally. The hero up here for me is Tom Humphrey. I mean, that guy took a beating for me back when I'm running for office, okay? I went to Lordstown. Oh my goodness, John Kasich said something that maybe we didn't want to hear. I go meet with the big 3, I don't get good news. I get a warning. I take it seriously. Lordstown is great. The cruise is fantastic. But we can't be thinking about the cruise. We got to be thinking about what comes next. We got to make sure that we're in a position with a modern plant and skilled workers to make sure that when the next car, whatever it may be, is ready to roll, that we're ready. Because Lordstown is the center of the universe here right now. And I'm pleased with the fact that there has been good relations, from what I understand, between the UAW leadership and GM. By the way, this is my 3rd visit to the Valley since the election. I'm going to keep coming back. But Lordstown is great. V&M Star Steel, Republic Special Metals, Parker Hannafin, unbelievable. The Y-Town Business Incubator, Youngstown State at President is fantastic. Rivers, logistics, airports. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff here. And when you look around the state, we have so many good things. You go to Cleveland and you think of Parker Hannafin, and you think of Lincoln Electric. You think of all the specialty manufacturers. You think about the Cleveland Clinic and University Hospital and Case Western Reserve. And you think about the possibility of biomedical products, the devices, because there is actual medicine going on, and companies want to be where the actual medicine is taking place. You go to Toledo, and you got First Solar, and you got the University of Toledo. You got the Andersons, you got the intermodal, the multimodal, the western edge of Lake Erie that can take you to the ocean. And down in North Baltimore, CSX making a major investment that can bring distribution centers to that area. And in Columbus, with the Limited and Nationwide. Boys, Victoria's Secret, Valentine's Day's coming, okay? And you think about financial services. You go to Cincinnati and you go where the north meets the south, and Procter & Gamble and Western and Southern and the University of Cincinnati, and you go to Dayton and you think about Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, LexisNexis, Teradata. And you think about agriculture across the rural areas. And you know what we're also thinking about with O'Brien and Schiavone and Wilson and Cafaro? Marcellus and Utica Shale. I don't want to overstate it at this point. Maybe the good Lord's shining on us. If these deposits can work out, if we can get the public to understand that we need to move forward on this, we could have a new industry here, an energy industry that could bring such great change and hope to people that live in the eastern part of Ohio. We are studying and talking to New York and Pennsylvania and West Virginia. We are talking on a bipartisan basis to our legislators about building a team of people that get this. You could have an industry that crops up on exploration. You could have big manufacturing that has high energy costs come to this area because of the possibility of low energy costs. And as I like to say, there are many people whose brains are in their hands. They know how to make things. The good Lord gave them the skills to make things. And whether it's pumps, or whether it's pipes, or whether it's bearings, or whether it's widgets, but we got to make it work. And it's got to be smooth. And we can't have disruption. And we got to have good planning. It's great stuff, isn't it? It's great to be hopeful for a change about what we can do. You know, I said in my inaugural that I am a servant of the taxpayers. I also said that I'm a servant of the Lord. I mean it. I did not run for this job to worry about politics. Oh, you got to pay attention to politics. I mean, you can't just ignore it. You know, but at the same time, you can't let politics get in the way of the critical decisions that you need to make. People say to me, you know, well, how you doing? I mean, I asked, somebody said that to Chris Christie. Chris was telling me, he says, they asked me, you know, in the middle of a shutdown up in New Jersey, how you doing, Chris? He said, how am I doing? I'm the governor of New Jersey. I'm doing great. Well, how am I doing? I'm the governor of the great state of Ohio, beyond my wildest dreams, and I'm doing great, and I'm having a great time working with people. So, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of controversy coming. Isn't it great to be in the middle of change? Isn't it great not to shrink from change? Isn't it great when the challenges are there to be able to stand up and fight, to move the needle, to give people hope, to be fair, but to work and struggle and fight for the things you believe in? That is exactly what is going on right now in the state of Ohio. We got a budget coming on March the 15th. And I guess as Ronald Reagan said, you ain't seen nothing yet. Thank you all very much, and God bless you.